spring and a damper. Here you have mechanical, in a rotational system, you have a J, that is a rotor, which is an inertia component, which is similar to mass. So here, instead of mass, we have a polar moment of mass moment of inertia, that is half mr square, and that is represented as J here. J is not the polar moment of inertia, not area moment. This is a mass moment of inertia. So that is, value is half mr square, where m is the mass and r is the radius of the body. If it is subjected to a torque, instead of force, now you have a torque. Instead of linear displacement x, you have a angular displacement theta in radians. Instead of linear velocity v, that is meters per second, instead of that you have a angular velocity omega, which is radian per second. Similarly, you have an angular acceleration instead of linear acceleration. Linear acceleration is in meter per second square. Here angular acceleration is alpha, which is called as theta double dot or d square theta by dt square, or second difference of angle of twist. If one end of the mass is rotated by the torque, so the torque due to rotational mass is given by T is equal to J d square theta by dt square. That is similar to m d square x by dt square. Same as that. There is no difference. M is replaced by J and x is replaced by theta. That's all. If you want in terms of velocity, you have a J d omega by dt, because omega is d theta by dt. Similarly, if you want in terms of acceleration, it is J into alpha. That's all. So this is what is a mechanical rotational system. Similarly, you have a dashpot or a damper or a friction element. So here the friction element is represented by B. It is subjected to torque T. Then angle of twist is theta. Then it can be represented as torque absorbed by the damper is B into omega, that is B into velocity. Similar to in previous case, it is B into V, and that is d theta by dt. So here you can see this is T into B into d theta by dt. So it is damping ratio multiplied by velocity d theta by dt. Similarly, you have a torsional spring having stiffness K or KT, sometimes to identify between a linear spring and a angular spring. The linear spring is represented by K, angular spring sometimes represented by KT. So it is the angular stiffness which is applied with the torque. In that case, torque is equal to T in B into theta. Instead of K into X, sorry, not B. Here it is K, mistake is there. Instead of B, it is K into theta or KT into theta. Similarly, if you want in terms of velocity, it is K into integration of velocity, which is equal to linear displacement or angular displacement. Same thing is there. If once again in the previous class, if you refer, if the one end is rotating with theta 1 and another end is rotating with theta 2, net difference theta 1 minus theta 2 or omega 1 omega 2 has to be taken in terms of a damper or in terms of a spring also. Same thing is there. So top equation or a bottom equation, same thing. If total displacement, if it is theta, directly it will come. If the one end is moving by theta 1 and another end is moving by theta 2, then it can be theta 1 minus theta 2. For displacement, for velocity, it is omega 1 minus omega 2. This is what is the slide. We are not going to handle any problems on this because it is exactly similar to that of a spring mass damper system. Number of problems we have already done a one or two problem. Few more problems will be done in coming classes. So today only I am doing one more problem on spring mass system. It is combined problem with electrical system. So moving to now the electrical system. So, or you can take a simple problem on this also. And here you can see one problem is given. Back problem put yeah, here you can see one simple problem of mechanical rotational system. You can see one J is there, that is inertia element. There is a damping element and the stiffness element. The whole thing is supplied with the torque. Torque has to be applied on J only, and angle of twist has to be taken as theta. In that case, you can simply write the equation. For spring, it is K into theta. For damper, it is B into d theta by dt. If I write equation in terms of theta, and for inertia element, that is J, it is J into d square theta by dt square. All these are opposing forces. External force is torque. So the spring torque is K, Tk, damping torque is Tb, and inertia torque or rotational torque is Tj. So addition of that equal to the external torque. That equation we are going to write. So you can see. So here it has to be J, here B, here it is K. So J into d square theta by dt square plus B into d theta by dt plus K into theta. It is the total torque being opposed by a rotational element system. That is, this is the inertia element. It is J, not M. And this is damper. This is spring, which is equal to torque. So you can see here the same equation is written. Then if you take a Laplace transform, not M, it is J d square theta is there. That means a square term will come. Instead of theta of t, it will be theta of s. Similarly, B into d theta by dt is there. First order difference. So if you take a Laplace transform, it has to be multiplied by s here, and theta of t replaced by theta of s. So similarly, K into theta is K into theta as it is. Only theta of t becomes theta of s. Then if you take common theta of s, here what remains is Js square plus Bs plus K. So output is theta, input is torque T. So it is not F, it is torque T. Then theta upon T can be written as 1 upon Js square plus Bs plus K. This is what is the transfer function of simple rotational system. You can have such multiple rotor system also, just like double mass problem which we have done. So the treatment remains one and the same. So hardly any problems are being asked on a rotational system. So as the portion covered has to be very high, we are leaving it, but just you can go through some solved problems in some of the books which are exactly similar to that of a mechanical translatory system. Now coming back to electrical system. See, just in the very first class I have already explained regarding this mathematical model is you have basically three components only, that is inertia component, friction component, and a stiffness or storage component. So in an electrical system also you have three components. Three components are inductor, resistor, and you have a capacitor. So most of the all the electrical system will have either inductor, resistance, or capacitor combination. Inductor is similar to mass and it is inertia, whereas damper is equivalent of resistance, that is it is resisting component or a friction component, and the spring, instead of spring we have a capacitor which is storage component. So instead of Newton's laws of motion, here we are going to write Here we are going to write what is known as using Kirchhoff's law. So just like Newton's law, you have a Kirchhoff's law. So here in the Kirchhoff's law, as per the Kirchhoff's law, it is exactly similar to Newton's laws of motion only. So here basically you come across the terms V, that is voltage, or EMF, electromotive force. It is similar to force only. Similarly, instead of displacement or velocity, you have what? Instead of velocity, you have a current. So instead of velocity, you have a current. See, here we can come in electrical circuits, we have what is known as charge in coulombs. Charge is there in coulombs, Q. So charge is like a flow of electrons. So charge is like a displacement. So rate of change of charge, that is dq by dt, is nothing but the current I in amperes. So current is measured in amperes, voltage is measured in volt. V is voltage and that is EMF or electromotive force. Then resistance is measured in ohms. Resistance of the any given wire or any element in general is represented as R. So here across the resistance I am applying the voltage V. Because of that there is a flow of current I. So normally in mechanical rotational system or a translatory system we write equation in terms of displacement x or theta. But here we generally write in terms of current or equivalent of velocity. So that is more common because charge we never refer here in electrical circuit, but it is possible to write the equation in terms of charge also. Current I is dq by dt or rate of change of charge. Now V here, if you see voltage drop across resistance, which is called as VR, or voltage drop across resistance is given by R into I. That is, R is the resistance of the element multiplied by current flowing through the element. So if you write the equation in terms of voltage, this is the first set, and here if you write the equation in terms of current, that is second equation. So if V is R into I, you are very much familiar from PUC days, you are writing this equation. So R resistance in ohms multiplied by current in amperes is equal to voltage drop across resistance in volts. That is, the same equation is modified in terms of current. Current I is V upon R. That is what it says. This is the first resistance element in the electrical circuit. It is equivalent of our damper in mechanical system. Then you have what is known as capacitor. This is a capacitor is represented by two parallel plates. Vc is the voltage drop across capacitor and I is the current flowing and C is capacitance of the capacitor. Then as per the equation, voltage drop across capacitor Vc of T is given by 1 upon C integration of IT dt. That is because actually it is 1 upon C into Q. That is charge in coulomb divided by C. See what happens is, capacitor is not exactly like your spring, but, where spring stiffness is K and capacitance is C. If you correlate them, it is not the direct relationship but reciprocal relationship. So instead of K, you have 1 upon C, not K is equal to C or something like that. So it is 1 upon C and actually it is Q into 1 upon C. Q can be also written in terms of current, that is integration of current is charge. That is because I is dq by dt. So if you want Q, then it is integration of I. So it is always single-sided function minus infinity to t. So if you write this same equation in terms of I here, so differentiating both sides, you can write C dv C upon dt. So this equation is in terms of voltage, this equation is in terms of current. So current is this much, voltage drop across capacitor is this much. So voltage drop across capacitor is 1 upon C into integration of I dt. And last one is, this is inductor. It looks similar to resistance, but it is not same, you might have seen. So resistance is triangular elements like here. Here this is a coil. And the voltage drop across inductor is represented by L, VL. And L is the inductance in henries. C is capacitance in farads. The unit of capacitance is farads. Unit of resistance is ohms. Unit of inductance is L, henries. These are the names of the scientists. We have developed these units. So if IL is the current passing through that, so if you write the equation for voltage drop across inductor, VL of T can be written as L di by dt, because once again we have no acceleration here. So rate of change of current is there is no term corresponding to acceleration in an electrical circuit. So in electrical circuit, either you have a charge in coulomb which is similar to displacement, or you have a current which is similar to velocity. So only two parameters are there. There is nothing called as acceleration in an electrical system. So we have no A or alpha. So here, if you write the equation in terms of current, then current I is 1 upon L into integration of VL dt, or actually the voltage drop across inductance is given by VL is equal to L into rate of change of current, that is acceleration, similar to acceleration, rate of di by dt, dIL of dt. This is what it says. So these are the three basic electrical systems. So from these three electrical basic components, we can find out some electrical systems, and from those electrical systems, we can find their transfer function. So here you can see the gist of this. Basically the resistance R, equation for that in terms of voltage is V is equal to I into R. In terms of current, I is equal to V upon R. So voltage I into R also can be, I is replaced by dq by dt here. You can see here. I is dq by dt. So if you want in terms of charge, this is the equation. In terms of current, you have this equation. Similarly, voltage drop across inductor L is equal to L di by dt, or in terms of charge, if you want, the last one you can see L d square q by dt square. Or for current, this same equation is modified. It is 1 upon L integration of V dt. Then the last one is capacitor, storage element. So C is the capacitance in farads. Then the voltage drop across capacitor is 1 upon C integration of I dt. Or in terms of this is I is Q upon C, not V. I is equal to Q upon C. Similarly, V is equal to Q upon C. Integration of I is Q only. Similarly, current I is C dV by dt. So this is what is another table which will give you the how to write the equation for resistance, inductor and capacitor. So here the voltage drop across any component V, I is the current flowing through that component, L is the inductance in henries, R is resistance in ohms, C in capacitance in farads. One simple electrical circuit here. This is one electrical system. This electrical system has a battery voltage V applied, and there is one switch which will be switched on or off. Normally when it is off, there is no question of any analysis. Only when it is on, then only it has to be done. Then R is the resistance, L is the inductance, C is the capacitance. Then you can see here from this equation, you can write the external voltage V is equal to voltage drop across resistance plus voltage drop across capacitance plus voltage drop across inductance plus voltage drop across capacitance. See here, you can see here one loop is there. This loop, in this loop, it starts from power source from positive side and goes to negative side, and this, the flow in this circuit is the current I. So here, now that means when the current starts flowing in the circuit, there is a voltage drop across resistance, there is a voltage drop across inductance, there is a voltage drop across capacitance. And all the sum of these voltage drops is equal to external voltage. So the external voltage V is voltage drop across this resistance, voltage drop across this inductance, plus voltage drop across this capacitance. If the I is current flowing through that, then you can write voltage drop across resistance is equal to R into I. Then voltage drop across inductance is L di by dt. Then voltage drop across this capacitance is 1 upon C integration of I dt. These are this plus this is equal to external voltage. This is what we have written. Just like in the case of applied force is equal to loss of force due to loss of force due to mass, so from friction, from storage. Same way we have to write this equation. Once we write this equation, you can proceed further. You can take the Laplace transform. So V of S is equal to R into I of S, as simple. Then L, one differentiation is there. So it is L into S into I of S plus voltage drop across capacitor. It is 1 upon C is there. Integration is there. When integration is there, divided by S should come. Differentiation is there, multiplied by S. Integration divided by S. If double integration, S divided by S square. Double differentiation multiplied by S square, like that. So the same equation is represented after taking a Laplace transform, assuming initial conditions 0. So we are not considering any initial conditions. So Vs is equal to R into I of S plus Ls I of S plus 1 upon Cs I of S. So here, if I take I of S common, then it is R plus Ls plus 1 upon Cs. So this I of S is the output and V of S is the input, because we have applied the voltage, we have got the current from here. So current is output and voltage is input. So output divided by input is equal to 1 upon R plus Ls plus 1 upon Cs, which can be, if you take Cs as LCM, then it becomes Cs into R, that is RCS. Ls into Cs is Ls square C, LC square, and plus 1. And this Cs, which is common denominator, goes into the numerator. So if you take a reciprocal of that, Cs upon LC square plus RCS plus 1. This is how we have taken the case. So,
excuse me,
yes.
sir. So both for conductor and inductance, sir. So the function is the same, sir. They store the energy in electrical form.
No. Inductor is an inertia element. It is like your mass. So it has some inertia. So it doesn't store the energy. It will store the energy just like flywheel. But capacitor store the energy not like a flywheel, but like a spring. Is it clear? When you compress the spring and leave it, it will give back the energy, correct?
Yes,
So
sir.
when you, similarly, capacitor also stores the energy temporarily. When you want it, you get it back.
Mhm.
Similar, whereas in the, when the mass is moving, it is storing in the form of inertia. But as soon as the force applied is removed, the mass continues to move. Suppose you are moving in a car. When you are moving in a car, if you press the clutch, that means the power supply to the car is stopped. That doesn't mean car comes to rest instantly. Why it doesn't come to rest instantly? Because it has its own inertia. So the mass is there, which is moving. It will continue to move. As the friction element starts reducing that velocity, finally it comes to rest unless it is braked. Similarly, here also, inductor is also a amplifier. It stores the energy temporarily and amplifies it. Whereas capacitor stores the energy, which will keep it in the form like a spring. That is what is the difference. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, yes.
Sir, please go back to the previous slide, sir.
Which
So
one?
previous
This
than
one?
previous than this. 43.
This one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ah, okay.
So that second one, VL, there is the equation that L into di by dt.
Correct.
So there is a single differentiation, no, sir.
No, see, single difference only is there.
Yes, sir. In next
So
slide.
why we got S square, you want to say?
Yes, sir.
See here. That is due to modification. See, here also I have written LS only. Just see here. Correct?
Yes,
So
sir. But
this CS is there in the denominator. So what I did, I take a LCM. So RCS plus LC S square it will become plus 1.
yes, sir.
So the
So that
common denominator CS goes to the numerator.
okay. So in the first line, sir, here RIS plus L into SIS is there now.
Ah.
So this L into SIS will come when
I
there is
of
double
S
division.
is there. I of S means, you see,
Yes, sir.
if you don't take a Laplace transform, I of t is there. We don't keep on writing t in the bracket. So,
Yes, sir.
because this current I is function of time.
Yes, sir.
So, everywhere, wherever there is I is there in normal equation, you have to write it as I of t. So,
Okay,
every
sir.
time repeatedly writing I of t, I of t, I of t doesn't make sense. So, only I is written.
Okay, sir.
Similarly, after taking Laplace transform, you have to t is replaced by s.
Yes, sir.
So henceforth we are not going to write s also, because I of s also, only I will write, because repeatedly writing that no meaning.
Okay, sir.
So this s is different and outside s is different. This is I of s is a function, whereas s is the Laplace operator.
Okay, okay, sir.
Is it clear?
Sir.
So similar to double mass system, we have one electrical system. You can see this electrical system. Here you can see VI is the input applied. It passes through inductor L1, resistance R1, capacitance C1. And then further it moves to inductance L2, resistance R2 and capacitance C2. And the voltage output is taken across this end and this end. See, this is a ground line. This is a ground line means voltage is 0 here. And here we are measuring the voltage across these two parallel lines. See, the voltage always has to be measured in parallel, whereas current always has to be measured in series. That means suppose you have done the experiments in fluid mechanics lab. In fluid mechanics lab, you measure pressure. You measure pressure by U-tube manometer. That means you are measuring them in parallel, between the difference between the two arms of the manometer. So it is one end is connected to one pipe, another end is connected to another pipe. The difference between the pressure will appear. So that is always in parallel measurement. Whereas you measure the flow along the flow line. That means in series. So the current is like a flow. So current flows to the circuit. So it is like a flow. So the current always has to be measured in series. So voltage is always measured. It is like a pressure or a force. So it is always has to be measured in parallel. So there, as far as constructional difference is concerned, the voltmeter and ammeter are one and the same. There is no difference. Only difference is voltmeter always has to be collected across. That means in parallel, and ammeter has to be connected in series. So at the same time, the difference in the voltmeter and ammeter is basically the value of the resistance. So ammeter and voltmeter will have certain resistances. When they have certain resistances, means the resistances have to be small when if they are connected in series, because if there is a large resistance, flow doesn't take place. So to allow the flow to take place, the resistance should be small in ammeter because it has to be connected in series. Whereas if you are measuring the voltage in parallel, that means the current should not flow through them. Otherwise, the pressure drop will take place. So to avoid that, the resistance of voltmeter is always very high, whereas resistance of ammeter is very extremely low. So that is only the difference. The value of resistance offered by ammeter is very small. Value of resistance offered by voltmeter is very large. So practically the voltmeter should have infinite resistance and ammeter should have zero resistance. But both are not possible. In physical sense, neither you will get infinity nor you will get zero resistance. If you have zero resistance means it will be superconductor. So that is not possible. So ammeter will have generally very low resistances and voltmeters will have generally high resistances. So if you have any questions so far, you can stop here because it is almost 40 minutes are over. So we can discuss, and afterwards we'll take a break of 15 minutes and then we'll start with the problem solving. I have done two problems, one on electrical system which we are looking at this presently now, and another one is electromechanical system, that is combination of electrical system and a mechanical system. So if you have any questions, you can unmute your mics and start whatever is covered so far. Electrical system or mechanical rotational system. This is the electrical system. These are the basic components. So inductor is like a inertia component, resistance is like a damper, capacitor is like a spring. So in the next class, we are going to cover what is known as equivalent systems. That is analogy. That means converting a mechanical system into electrical system or a vice versa. Because here one more advantage is there in control engineering is here we are generally not bothered about the units. So we are just finding out the similarities, system behavior similarities. That's all. So naturally, it may be electrical system, mechanical system, hydraulic system, pneumatic system, fluid flow system, thermal system. Everything we are going to model in terms of resistance, capacitance, and inductance only. Because solving electrical system is always very simple rather than a mechanical system. Because in a electrical, you might have seen our electrical students and electronics students, there is what is known as circuit theory is one subject, where they use that circuit theory to solve very complex electrical systems. So there are number of methods are there to solve a complex electrical system, but there are no such methods for mechanical system. So what we do, we convert our mechanical system to equivalent electrical system and solve if it is very complex. For example, network analysis is a very commonly used subject, not by electrical engineers and electronic engineers alone, but civil engineers and mechanical engineers also. For example, civil engineers, they deal with the urban water supply. If you talk about urban water supply, a huge area, a big place like Mumbai or Belgaum or whatever it is, it has to be supplied with the water. So there are series of pipelines. One main pipe will be there, then there are a smaller pipe, still smaller pipe, then finally come to your house. Our job is to maintain the pressure constant and flow constant at all the places. Otherwise, what will happen? The house which is at the elevation, or a multi-story house, at the top floor there will be no water, and the bottom floor the pressure is so high that pipe will start busting. So the pressure has to be regulated. So to analyze how much pressure drop takes place at a different point, you have to analyze the system by what is known as network analysis. So similarly, you may say it is a job of a civil engineer. Generally, urban water supply is dealt by civil engineers. But mechanical engineers are very much commonly working in what is known as refineries. In petroleum refineries, huge pipeline networks are there. Or in the refinery, there is a LPG storage tanks will be there. So the LPG storage tanks are not refrigerated ones. They are kept open only. But due to ambient temperature, sometimes in the summer, the outside room temperature goes up to 50 degrees centigrade also. In that case, if you keep the LPG as it is, then the LPG will get converted into gas, and the pressure of the gas increases so much that the container may burst. So in that case, it has to be kept cool by using the sprinkler. So in the sprinkler, there are a number of nozzles are there. At each nozzle, the same pressure has to be there. Otherwise, the water may not fall on the tank. Similar to that, our what is known as drip irrigation system. In drip irrigation system, to root of every plant, drop by drop water is coming. Unless you maintain the pressure constant at all the roots, it is not possible. Otherwise, the tree which is nearest to the tank will get the maximum water, and tree which is farther away from the tank will not get any water at all. So everywhere the pressure regulation system has to be maintained. Now 24/7 water supply is there in Belgaum. See, earlier only for few hours the water used to come, but 24 hours water system, what happens is, as the water is there in the pipe continuously, the house which is at the bottommost place will get a maximum pressure, and all the taps and all will start leaking there if the pressure is not monitored properly. And at the same time, the first house which is nearest to the tank, which is at the height, so will not get any water at all. So to avoid that, the complex networks have to be solved. There are a number of methods. A primitive 2 methods we are going to teach you, and that I am taking up in the next problem. So I will, as there are no questions, I have not got any questions so far. So you can quit for.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So slide number 44, last part, sir.
This one?
So 44, so next.
Yeah.
Last part, sir. Last 3 lines.
This part I have not at all explained. You forget it. We have not covered that. So we are not going to take it. See here, there is a mistake in that sketch. So output there is taken across a capacitor. So because of that, he has written the equation. Don't bother about it. I will cover this in the next problem, because it will create unnecessary confusion, because here the VC output is there across capacitor. That modification he has done. So he has first thing what we have seen, we have found out the transfer function as current I as the output, correct? So
Yes,
this is I divided by supply voltage. That is the output we have taken. But here what he has done, he has taken output as VC, that is voltage drop across capacitor. So he has written down one more equation, voltage drop across capacitor VC as 1 upon C integration of I of this one. So after taking Laplace transform only he has written, see here. So here it is 1 upon CS I of S. So this I of S in this equation is replaced by CS. So here it will become 1 upon this now, because this CS and this CS get cancelled. So forget about it now. we will take up the next problem. There we can explain it properly. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So we can stop here. After 15 minutes, once again, we'll start with that complex two loop problem.
क्विज आया क्या?
Okay, we'll start again.
Generally, as per record, only 234 at so more than that they have enrolled. So except GAT, okay, GAT also that other IDs they have to unenroll.
Okay, here we have around 232 students total, but there are more people enrolled with old IDs also. So after you have started using GIT IDs, so the old IDs you remove it so that it is unnecessarily creating a problem for us for attendance monitoring. Now we'll go to a more complex electrical system. This is one problem I have taken. Vi is the supply voltage, that is input, and V0 is the output voltage, that is output. And it passes through one inductor L1, resistance R1, and capacitor C1. Similarly, then it is further connected in another loop with L2, R2, and C2. And output is taken across this resistance and capacitance together as a output voltage. Now we have to find out the transfer function, that is output divided by input after taking a Laplace transform. Here there are two methods for this, out of which I am going to use to avoid confusion. I can do both the methods together, but it will unnecessarily lead to a confusion. Both the methods will lead you to the same answer. But the thing is, the second method I will cover it later. So the first method is by using Kirchhoff's voltage law. And the Kirchhoff's voltage law gives you the method of what is known as a loop current method. So the Kirchhoff's voltage law states that sum of voltage drop in a closed loop is zero. So the sum of voltage drop in a closed loop. Loop means what? It is the one which will start from one point and moves and come back to the same point. So this is called as closed loop. So you can see here there is first loop, which voltage, if I start from this point, it goes to inductor, current I is there. I have taken the loop current as I1, first loop. So it passes through L1, R1, C1 and comes back here to zero line, or that means this loop is complete. So this is called as loop current method. The law governing that is Kirchhoff's voltage law. Remember that, because it states that the voltage drop in a closed loop is zero. That is, voltage drop across this inductance plus voltage drop across this resistance plus voltage drop across this capacitance plus the supply voltage is equal to zero. That means we write the equation then, supply voltage is equal to this plus this plus this. Just now in the previous example we have written like that. So that is called as Kirchhoff's loop current method. The law governing that, remember, it is a voltage law. So the voltage law leads to a loop current method. So similarly, there is another loop also. You can see the second loop. The current in the second loop is I2. So in this loop, there is one L2, R2, C2 and C1. C1 is common for both the loops. So this is second loop and current is I2. So we are using the two equations. That is, the sum of voltage drop in this loop is equal to 0. Sum of voltage drop in this loop is equal to 0. Two equations, two unknowns. The two unknowns are I1 and I2. So we are going to find either I1 and I2, or finding out the transfer function with respect to I1 or with respect to I2. At the same time, in this given problem, the I2 is not asked. We are interested in V0. Output voltage is voltage drop across this resistance and capacitance R2 and C2 in series. So that equation also we have to write. The second method is what is known as Kirchhoff's current law. The Kirchhoff current law actually leads to a method of solution called as node voltage method. Kirchhoff's node voltage method. We are not discussing now today. We are discussing at the end of this topic after a few more classes. So the reason is there for that. At present it is of no use. So we are going to cover it there. It says that the node voltage method says that the node voltage method says that sum of the current at any given node is zero. The algebraic sum of the current, suppose you take this as a point is a node. So to this node, the algebraic sum of the current coming towards it is equal to going away from it, or the total sum, that is current coming towards the node plus current going away from node, is equal to 0. It says that. So in the first method, we are going to write the voltage drop equations, which we are more familiar. Here we have to write the current equations. So here you have to write the voltage equations, Kirchhoff's voltage law or loop current method. Here you have to write Kirchhoff's current law, that is node voltage method. Here you have to write the current equations. Here you have to write voltage equations. That's why it is called as voltage law. This is called as current law. Now coming to that, let us take first method, that is Kirchhoff's voltage law and the loop current method. This is the first loop. In the first loop, the voltage drop across this inductance plus voltage drop across voltage drop across this inductance plus voltage drop across this resistance and voltage drop across this capacitance is equal to plus voltage drop supply voltage is 0 or Vi is equal to remaining thing. That is what I have written. So voltage drop across this inductance L1 is L1 di1 of t by dt. L1 di1 of t by dt. That is rate of change of current multiplied by inductor is voltage drop across inductance. This is the first term. Second term for this resistance R1. So R1 into I, R into I is the voltage drop across resistance. That is R1 into I1 of t. Then the voltage drop across this capacitance. See, I1 is the current flowing in this direction. I am assuming the direction of the current as clockwise. This also clockwise, I2 also clockwise. I am assuming. If the assumed direction of the current is wrong, you will get the negative results. If the assumed direction is current, you will get the positive sign. That's all. So I1 is the amount of current in clockwise direction here. So from top to bottom it will flow, whereas I2 will flow from bottom to top. So naturally both are opposing. When both are opposing, for capacitor C1, I1 minus I2 has to be done. Here I have written 1 upon C integration of I1 of t minus I2 of t dt is equal to supply voltage. Or supply voltage also you can take on the left hand side and equal to 0. That is also you can write, but I have written supply voltage on the other side because that is what is our input. That is what is our input. We want the input to be separated from the equation. That's why I have written, let us call it as equation number 1. So for this equation number 1, I have taken a Laplace transform. That is, this is the equation number I have written, which is without the number, I have written in terms of Laplace transform. L1 di by dt is there means S term will come here. L1 S I1 of S. Similarly, R1 I1 of S plus 1 upon CS C1 of S into bracket I1 of S minus I2 of S is equal to Vi of S. Vi indicates input, O indicates output. Then I have taken I1 of S common in this equation. I1 of S, if I take common, then it is L1S plus R1 plus 1 upon C1S, this part, 1 upon C1S, complete. Then I2 of S only with a negative sign is there, 1 upon C1S into I2 of S is equal to Vi of S. This is equation number 2. So this is our first equation for solution, equation number 2. Similarly, I will write it for second loop. Second loop, voltage drop across L2 plus voltage drop across R2 plus voltage drop across C2 plus voltage drop across C1 is equal to 0 because it is a closed loop. Here there is no input. So when there is no input, so it is on the other side, it is 0 only. So you can see voltage drop across inductor L2 is L2 di2 by dt. Similarly, voltage drop across resistance R2 is R2 into I2 of t. Voltage drop across capacitance C2 is 1 upon C2 I2 of t integration. And the voltage drop across C1, because C1 is also a part of loop number 2. So it is 1 upon C1 integration of, for this loop we have taken I1 minus I2. For this loop you have to take this minus this, that is opposite, that is I2 minus I1. It's just like for double mass system also we have done the same thing. For first mass we have taken x1 minus s2. For second mass we have taken x2 minus x1. Same method here also. We have earlier we have taken I1 minus I2. Here we are going to take I2 minus I1 is equal to 0. This is equation number 3. Then if I take a Laplace transform of that, see L2S I2 of S, R2 into I2 of S 1 upon C2S, this is 1 upon C2S I2 of S plus 1 upon C1S, 1 upon C1S into I2 of S minus I1 of S. That is what I have done. So next step I have taken is, see here, I have taken I1 of S common first. I will write I1 first, I2 next. So I1 in the second equation is negative. So minus 1 upon C1S into I1S S will be the term. And I2 of S, if I take common, I2 of S, if you take common, then it is L2S plus R2 plus 1 upon C2S plus 1 upon C1S is equal to 0. So this is equation number 4. So we have equation number 2 for first loop, equation number 4 for second loop after taking a Laplace transform. So we have the next term. So here, if you see, I have another equation that is for output voltage. This output voltage V0 is equal to voltage drop across resistance R2 and voltage drop across capacitance C2. Current flowing in this branch is I2 only. You need not have to take the third current here because it becomes a redundant. So the current is coming from this side only. This is the output. So no current comes from this side. So the current flowing in R2 and C2 is I2 only. So the voltage drop across resistance R2 is R2 into I2, whereas voltage drop across capacitance C2 is 1 upon C2 integration of I2 dt. So that I have written here. So R2 into I2 of t plus 1 upon C2 integration of I2t dt is equal to V0. That is voltage drop across these two terms, which is equal to our output voltage. That is what we are going to take it out. So after simplification, I2 of S becomes, if I take a Laplace transform, this becomes R will remain as it is. This becomes 1 upon CS. So C2 of S. So I2 of S I can take common. It will become R2 plus 1 upon C2S is equal to V0. Is it okay? Now, for V0 as the output, you need I2 as the input. But what is I2? I2 you can get it from equation number 2 and 4. Equation number 2 and 4. You can see here equation number 2. This is equation number 2 and equation number 4. So I want I2 means in the numerator I have to write the coefficients of I1 and right hand side of the equation. And in the denominator I have to write the coefficients of the two variables. The two variables are I1 and I2. So in the denominator we have a I1 coefficient and I2 coefficients. Because there are two equations means there are 2 rows, 2 columns. It will be a square matrix or square determinant. So 2 rows, 2 columns. In the numerator I2 I am finding we have to eliminate the coefficient of I2, write the coefficient of others, that is I1 and right hand side of the equation. So you can see here I have written like in the numerator I have written the coefficient of I1 first equation, coefficient of I1 in the second equation. In the first equation it is L1S plus R1 plus 1 upon C1S. In the second equation coefficient of I1 is minus 1 upon C1S, including sign you have to take, not only coefficient. Right hand side of the first equation is Vi of S, right hand side of the second equation is 0. Whereas denominator is coefficient of I1 and I2. Coefficient of I1 in the first equation I have copied as it is, same. Coefficient of I1 in the second equation I have copied it as it is. Coefficient of second variable, that is I2, in the first equation is minus 1 upon C1S, and whereas coefficient of I2 in the second equation is L2S plus R2 plus 1 upon C2S plus 1 upon C1S. I have written as it is. See, these two elements have to be always same. These are called as coupler elements. You have studied this in vibration also. The one which is common between the two masses, that is called as coupler. And the coupler here is our capacitor. In your case, it may be a spring. So spring is common between mass M1 and M2. So that term will appear in both the equations, here and here, with the same value. So this I have done. So what you have to do now? I2 of S, you have to solve this determinant. This multiplied by this multiplied by this is 0. Whereas minus this multiplied by this, minus of minus plus, it becomes VI divided by C1 of S. This term becomes like this. The numerator determinant get simplified in this form. Whereas denominator determinant, this multiplied by this. So this multiplied by this, minus of minus plus once again minus. So minus 1 upon C1 square S1 square, S square. This term will come as it is. This multiplied by this. So further, if you simplify, if you take, see here, C1S, if you take as LCM, C1S take LCM for this bracket also. If I take C1S for this bracket, it becomes L1 C1 S square, R1 C1S plus 1 upon CS it will become. Whereas for this it is L2 C1 S square plus R2 C1 S plus 1 upon C1 C2 S square plus 1. For this it will come as it is, whereas the denominator will come as C1S. So C1S plus C1S square it will be there. So this C1S square will get a common denominator. So one C1S is there in the numerator. So one C1S from denominator goes to the numerator. So now this reduces to VI into S into C1 of S into this bracket minus 1. So this is what is I2. So here from I2, here I am supplying the value of I2 in equation number 5. See here. So I2 value I am supplying from equation number 5, that multiplied by R2 plus 1 upon C2S is equal to V0 will get. So this I2 consists of VI. This I2 consists of VI. So V0 upon VI is the transfer function. So that reduces to C1S into R2 plus 1 upon C2S, that as it is, divided by this whole thing, this bracket minus 1 plus is equal to V0 divided by VI. This is what is your transfer function. This will be shared to you. This PPT we are going to share it in a bulk together. All PPTs are one only. In one class we'll share this. So this is what is the transfer function. If you have any difficulty, you can unmute your mic and we can go back to the solution wherever you want. You have any problem?
So briefly
yes.
once again, sir.
Repeat once again.
So briefly, sir.
Okay, I'll do it. So this is what is the problem. Vi is the input, V0 is the output. So we are using the Kirchhoff's voltage law. That method is called as loop current method. We are using that method. Don't get bothered about the second method. We are not yet covered that. First method only, Kirchhoff's voltage law, loop current method. So sum of voltage drop in a closed loop is 0. So voltage drop across L1 plus R1 plus C1 is equal to supply voltage VI. That is what is the first equation I have written. I have taken a Laplace transform. So di means s will come. Integration, differentiation means s. Integration means 1 upon s. That is the thing you know. So here I have taken L1s, I1 of s, R1 into I1 of s plus 1 upon C1 because it is a common element, coupler element. I1 minus I2 will come here. I1 minus I2 will come here. Integration because it is a capacitor. After taking a Laplace transform, integration means 1 upon Cs. C1s will be there. I1 of s and minus I2 of s is equal to supply voltage. This is after separating the variables. I have separated I1s and I2s. I1 I have written first, I2 I have written next. And this is equation number 2 after separating the variable. Equation 2 we got. Then equation 3 I got it for second loop. So this second loop, the voltage drop across L2, R2, C2 and C1 is equal to 0. I have written the equation for L2 into di2 by dt, R2 into I2, C2 into 1 upon C2 integration of I2. But C1 is a coupler element. Here I have taken I1 minus I2. Here I will take I2 minus I1. 1 upon C1 integration of I2 minus I1 dt is equal to 0 because there is no supply. Don't get confused with this output voltage. It is not in this loop. This loop is only this much. I will start from here and at here. This is a loop. You can start from anywhere. I will start from here. I will go to this side. So you can, I have started here because I have written L2 first. So I have started here. This closed loop I have written. And in this closed loop, there is no supply voltage. So all voltage drop, this voltage drop, this voltage drop, this voltage drop, plus this voltage drop is 0 I have written. So this is what is the equation. I have taken a Laplace transform of that. Differentiation is multiplied by s, integration is divided by s. So L2s into I2 of s, R2 I2 of s, 1 upon C2s I2 of s, and C1s I2 of s minus I1 of s is equal to 0. I have separated I1s and I2s. These are the two variables. I have written I1 first. So this I1 is having a negative sign in the second equation. So minus 1 upon C1s into I1 I have written first. And I2s have so many things. L2s plus R2 plus 1 upon C2s plus 1 upon C1s is equal to 0. Then I have written down the output equation. That is, the output equation is for this voltage output. This voltage output is equal to voltage drop across this resistance plus capacitance. So that is R2 into I2 and 1 upon C2 into integration of I2. That is what I have written here. You can see here. So this is equal to V0. So if I take a Laplace transform and take I common, that is I2 common, R2 plus 1 upon C2s is equal to V0. This is what I have written. Then equation, I want I2 in this equation so that there is a relationship between I2 and V0. And there is a relationship between I2 and Vi also. Now I have to eliminate I2. I have to take V0 upon Vi. So for that purpose, I will find the value of I2. I will find the value of I2, substitute that value of I2 in terms of Vi. So once we have an equation of Vi and V0, then I will take a ratio of V0 upon Vi, that is our transfer function. So for getting I2, in the numerator, you have to remove the coefficient of I2 and write the coefficient of I1, one below the other. Equation 1, equation 2, I1, and right hand side of second equation is Vi. Right hand side of second equation, that is equation number 4, is 0. This is equation number 2. This is equation number 4. Similarly, this is equation 2. This is equation 4. This is coefficient of I1. This is also I1, I2, I2. I have written. Then simplified this determinant. This multiplied by this 0, minus of minus plus, this multiplied by this I have written in the numerator. Whereas in the denominator, this multiplied by this is a bracket, this multiplied by this is a bracket. Then I have further simplified. I have taken C1s as a LCM common for this bracket as well as this bracket. So C1s means C1 square S square will come here. So this C1s and one C1s will cancel, and I have modified this in this formula. Then I2 value I have substituted here. This is I2 value total. This value I have substituted here, and that means I have indirectly multiplied with this bracket R2 plus 1 upon C2s. So that becomes Vi, and V0 upon Vi will become like this. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I will give the brief discussion of the next problem. I will not be in a position to cover that fully today. And that is this particular problem. See here, the advantage of control engineering. See here, this is an electrical system and this is a mechanical system. Here, these two rods which are shown, it is not proper connection is there. It is just showing the magnetic force. It is not a rod, solid rod. There is no physical connection between this and this. This particular problem is your bell, electrical bell. I am not talking about the ding-dong bell which you have commonly now in your house. But this is the old bell which you see in our college. After the end of the class, they will press. I am not talking about the siren, but in some, say, suppose you go to a cinema hall. After the end of the movie, you will see the long siren. That is an electrical bell. So once you press the switch, the bell starts ringing, and when you release the switch, it stops ringing. So the hammer of the bell is this spring mass system. Hammer of this bell is a spring mass system. For balancing purpose, there are two springs. Both have same the stiffness, and in between there is a damper. That is a friction element. Damper may not be there in the case of an electrical bell, but the damper represent a friction because some friction will be there. So that friction component is F, small f. And this bell has a hammer. Hammer has the mass. That mass I have taken it as M. Then it is actuated by the electrical circuit. Here there is a supply voltage. When you press the switch, the supply starts. If you release the switch, supply stops. It passes through a resistance. Resistance means not physical resistance. This wire is there means wire has certain resistance that is modeled as a resistance. There will be one capacitor here, and that capacitance is a storage device, and one inductance is of the coil. So it is actually a electromagnet. This is a model of a electromagnet, that once you supply the voltage, this magnet coil becomes magnetized and it will generate a magnetic force, and this magnetic force pulls this mass, because this mass is also a iron mass or a ferrous mass. So that hammer of the electrical bell is made up of a ferrous element. So because this is a electrical magnet now, electromagnet, so electromagnet starts working when the supply starts. If there is a power supply, this becomes a magnet. When the supply is removed, it stops. So what happens is, now the arrangement is such that when you press the bell, then the supply starts, and this mass is going to be pulled down against the spring force and this friction and against the inertia of the mass. Now that means this coil is applying a force here. That force we want. Similarly, this electrical energy is getting converted into magnetic energy. So how the relationship between electrical energy and a magnetic energy we want, and similarly how this magnetic energy is generating the force on this mass, that also we want. So here you can see that ते माझं फिगरच उडवलास की तू. हा मग in that there are two equations. I have forgotten. He has not put that. I will see that. I will show you.
ఈయన तो सर left का
क्लास खत्म हुआ।
आशुतोष आशुतोष नायक हेलो
भाई क्लास खत्म हुआ क्या?
हाँ भाई खत्म हुआ क्लास।